But in WGS, look like they're going to be sticking once again with the Sombra. Have Flora here on the Sombra. Everyone else on the pretty standard roles. I think we've seen what GEEKSTAR is going to do.
I mean, obviously it didn't work out quite as well on King's Row, but I also think King's Row is a map that, you know, consistent Sombra play is a little bit harder to get down, whereas here on Horizon could be an easier time for Flora when, you know, channel what went right on the Sombra play, especially going back to map 1.
And also King's Row is a very heavily tank dictated map as well, and Leo has been, despite GEEKSTAR's performance, Leo has been a relatively solid main tank. So definitely something to note there. As you see GEEKSTAR moving here from the flank, the hack goes out onto Leo. There's no shield currently available for GEEKSTAR.
That's why WGS is immediately going in after it. You see GEEKSTAR a bit in disarray, and they lose doobies, so now they're not going to be able to speed their way on out. It actually hurts their ability to retreat when you lose a Lucio that early. They do get Krorong off the other side, but the problem is that it's not going to be enough, and also, he can be his own taxi service back.
Great hack from Flores. He's just sitting on the high ground, getting the shield out of the way. And that's when we talk about effective Sombra play, especially neutral Sombra play, ult neutral Sombra play. It's all about hacks. Her kit is based around hacks and just setting up those great just abilities and remove all the cooldowns. And Flora getting that crucial hack onto Leo allows WGS to engage, get the early picks. And
most importantly, it gets them out of an economy here where they should not engage until EMP is up. Flora goes in, eats a lot of damage just to back out, but it's going to have EMP up soon. So if you're in WGS, you want anything other than a fight right now until the EMP comes in, and now it's good to go. The EMP hits just about everyone.
It does hit everyone. Yeah, it was a 6-man.
And WGS, they go, okay, we're just easily going to go in. It's fine.
So now GEEKSTAR are going to be backing up. So that with the EMP out, it's gone. There's no more EMP in the fight right now. GEEKSTAR should know this is their chance to be extremely aggressive. Even if Spin drops the Zarya ult, you will have the Transcendence. You're coming up on some other ults. Though Dobie has been having a little bit of slow beat build so far, which is to be expected of a team on offense that you're just speeding in, taking a lot of damage, trying to survive, rather than taking long, extended fights.
Yum1 moving forward, holding on to the grab. Going to drop the grab early to fight GEEKSTAR, trying to take advantage of this EMP-less opportunity. Instead, going to get shattered on the other side. Spear dropping hammer, buying time for WGS to disengage here. Buy more time for an EMP or crucial hack. And GEEKSTAR, meanwhile, says, all right, that's fine. We're just going to take the point.
Now they have control of the point. They're coming up on 2 tank ults. They'll be building up on that beat. As also tries to drop the solo shatter onto Flora, who translocates away.
Yeah, Leo unable to get anything. There was a good attempt, and on the other side, Cho gonna fall. So Yum1 putting GEEKSTAR over the top here. GableC getting real low, but still totally fine. And here's the real danger is that they didn't take anyone out there, which means GEEKSTAR, not only are they gonna get point A, but they can immediately rush to point B. WGS is gonna have very little time here to react.
Though a lot of this is gonna be based on how strong this EMP is and if Dobie can hide. If Dobie can hide and get the beat off in time, keep everyone alive, Yum1 will get a grab. GableC has Diva Bomb. There's a lot of ability here. It's all based around EMP.
Flora ready to go here, and to your point, it is based on the EMP. Gonna get the early hack from GableC, not trying to rush it in any form or fashion, but now moves on in, drops the EMP, and the follow through is gonna be there. Leo flying melee, but GEEKSTAR also fighting it back. They deal with Sven and Spear, maybe go a little bit too aggro, EMP or no, and it means that GEEKSTAR has a real chance to bring this back. Transcends up, who can drop it, and he's immediately gonna use it, keep the remaining members alive. And now they have both Shatter and Self-Destruct in reserve. WGS is in a very tough spot right now.
They're in a very tough spot, but Spin and Spear are both back alive. If Spin can get this grab up, there is some hope, but GEEKSTAR, they're back. They have Shatter, they have Bomb. They're putting so much pressure on the Spear early.
And they're immediately going to drop the Shadow. Sven on the ground and blow him to smithereens. GableC there with the follow-through. And this could be it. It would be a very quick time here from GEEKSTAR, and there's nothing that WGS can do to stop it.
That was a great push for GEEKSTAR, and it all was based around the first push. They move up on the high ground, they get that grab out, they drop the point, they control it. And once you're controlling point and there's no EMP on the field and you're running 3-3, which is what GEEKSTAR was running, you just slowly but surely win the fight as long as one dies. And they could snowball. You know, the fight lasted so long, there was no ults built up in time for the rest of WGS. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the key there as well is that I think the most dangerous fights for a point B defense is when your point A results in everyone dying and you don't at least get some form of stagger kill on the way out. When you give the offense the ability to go, we still have all 6 back up, let's immediately dive in, because even with the EMP, WGS wasn't really able to get the ideal positioning that normally you could get in that type of situation.
Yeah, not getting the stagger kill, not getting a lot of ults out either. Because you need to get something. You need to get something from them. Because if you're coming into a last fight and you don't have a lot on your plate except the EMP, you haven't gotten really any ults out of them, it's a rough position to be in if you're the defense when you're relying on EMP as your sole win condition. And that was the problem that happened there, is the engage happens, you see Assassin pop the rally, and obviously the defensive beat from Dobby. So they're just able to stay alive long enough for the value to come into play, where they're playing traditional 3-3.
So GEEKSTAR, what a boon it would be for them here if they could take away Horizon, be one map away from that first win. WGS, I mean, it's hard to fault them a whole lot here, where they have gone through an incredible amount of roster changes, so they could actually just be a testament to the org if they were able to pull this one out, even against GEEKSTAR, a team that's been struggling.
So now GEEKSTAR going to be on the defense, I should say, not the offense. WGS rolling here on the offense. We've been playing the standard. Once again, pretty much the bread and butter so far is going to be the Sombra Goats. Sombra in the lineup, so Diva. As they move, it looks like they're going to be trying to send to the high ground, but GEEKSTAR, they're not going to let them. They're looking for the early engage.
Yeah, GEEKSTAR immediately going to dive in, trying to take the initiative here, but WGS able to kind of squeak away in the middle of there. Leo doesn't even lead with as much primal charge as you'd want, so for WGS, it's not a bad response. Now they're going to go up top, and it's actually hard for GEEKSTAR to fight this directly here, and they try it anyways and end up losing Assassin.
The Assassin went way too deep. He was expecting some more follow-up there, but there was so much poke onto Leo. Leo could not engage. The bubbles were out, and as long as everyone stays alive, but as you see that, Dobby down, Leo re-engaging.
Yeah. Well, Leo's going to give his life for it, and this is still totally okay for WGS. They're trading out efficiently, and now they're just going to be able to drop over, start getting good progress on the point, and for GEEKSTAR, coming back in for a recontest, I don't think it's something they should do.
No, I think it's very, very unlikely. The problem is, GEEKSTAR are staggered. Look at Yamwan. He's still in. They're still here. They're definitely going to try to fight it. They need to go soon. They don't want to stagger.
Oh, this could be the worst of all worlds right now, where are they trying to buy time for another fight? I mean, this could end really badly. If they lose this fight decisively here, WGS gets to go straight to point, but GEEKSTAR, they have faith, they move in, Yamwan gonna get two, and now actually GEEKSTAR turning it back around. WGS loses the opportunity of a lifetime.
Incredible recontest from GEEKSTAR. You see Yamwan, you see Dobby, you see Assassin just sitting on the high ground, waiting for the longest time. We're coming back in, popping that rally to stay on the point, allowing Leo to get back. And really, it's incredible that they were able to win the fight at all, since WGS invested both the EMP and Spins Grab. They invested two huge ults and got nothing out of it, nothing at all besides the ticks.
That should have been a quick run to point B for WGS and a tremendous turnaround, but instead, they just don't get value off of it. It's ill-placed. Now we're gonna have Yamwan opening up this fight with a grab against the ceiling. I like the positioning there. Makes it less likely Feel can be saved by a shield. In and as they go. They do trade out 5-on-5. So GEEKSTAR not out of the woods here yet.
Not out of the woods, but with Finn going down, there's a lot of damage off the field for WGS. GEEKSTAR still in firm control of the point. There's just more time being burned off the clock, and they did trade the grab for Deros Trance. So GEEKSTAR has to be happy about that. They have double tango coming up. They have their portals coming up here again, and Flora only 54% to the EMP.
Not only that, but Leo gonna have a lot of disruption. He's going straight to the back, and the reason is that he's gonna take damage, but he's gonna primal immediately. He's gonna be looking to knock people off and make it so WGS is a great spot. Yeah, forcing beat out here. This is really good for Leo. Eats a bunch of damage. Now needs to get out 342 HP. Needs to back off, get healed over, so GEEKSTAR can re-engage, and they're gonna do just that. They use Transcendence early here. Doobie needs to hop on in and over. We'll see where GEEKSTAR drops the beat here. Leo's in a lot of danger here. Now would probably be the time. Drop the beat, self-destruct, gonna move in, and there's the beat. Catches everyone. GEEKSTAR still in a really good spot. Yamwan builds up Grav mid-fight. Spear out, Graviton in, and this is gonna be the cleanup that GEEKSTAR needs.
And these fights are just lasting so long, and every time the defensive beat is up, every time the grab is up, they're just not able, once again, they just can't get any kills. Gabblesheik just using the Diva Bomb as a defensive ult as well. So WGS, they have one more push. They have grab. There's no defensive ults.
Also, they came really close, within 3% there of taking it, but in the end, just not enough.
See WGS moving here from the flank. Trying to set up, trying to get the point. They have ults. They have what they need, but a great dive.
An absolutely devastating dive down in from GEEKSTAR. They get two immediately, and for WGS, this might be all she wrote. GEEKSTAR with 3 early pickoffs. There's no way, no road back. And that is going to be GEEKSTAR now 1 map away from getting their very first win.
So now going to be cleaning up. Is all done. And that early pickoff on Dodero before he could trance was just huge. I mean, even getting the trance off very early there would have been still rough for WGS, getting it forced. But going down without being able to pop it, the instant burst is huge. Just catching them on the corner. So GEEKSTAR, they just seem to be in firm control. They seem to be knowing exactly when they want to engage.
I think if we had to go back to a shift in momentum here, though, one that really defined the map, it's WGS losing that fight with EMP and Grav on the recontest, where I actually wasn't a big fan of GEEKSTAR trying to run back in there, because the cost to them, if that was unsuccessful, is that
it would have been bad.
Yeah, they basically, the point would have been instantly capped, and they still would have been getting out of spawn with a full WGS team in on point B. But because WGS isn't able to convert there, because they kind of throw those ults away, they let GEEKSTAR back in, not only do they not get point A, I mean, they're just completely set back at that point. So the decision works out for GEEKSTAR, and that was basically the map.
Yeah, that was an incredible recontest. I mean, it's not just about them being able to recontest at all.
No.
It's the fact that they had used so many ults as well on point.
Well, guys, we're going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, the conclusion. Will GEEKSTAR be able to get their first win? We'll find out in just a few minutes. And we are back now, getting ready to head into map 4, where GEEKSTAR looking stronger than they have pretty much all season long, but they are doing it against a team built together here, presumably at the last moment, as WGS have seen a whole lot of changes.
Not uncommon to the contender scene to see these rosters swap around very last second, which can explain, some of their struggles, some of WGS's struggles here against GEEKSTAR, which has been a team that hasn't had a lot of success so far in Korean Contenders. But GEEKSTAR just looking like the better team. And regardless of roster issues, you still have to come out and win. And it's a whole new roster. You need to show your stuff. And if you're losing to GEEKSTAR, who hasn't had the best performance so far, then clearly it doesn't necessarily bode well for you in the future.
No, not in the least. And I mean, for WGS, yeah, they have a bit of room to work with. They have 2 wins, but they've had a rough schedule. And this is supposed to be a game that, okay, we've had tough games against teams like Runaway, but it's fine. Now we get to go up against GEEKSTAR. The problem is, of course, that a roster has changed so much that what they thought would be an easy game now is anything but. And I mean, if from the GEEKSTAR point of view, this is a gift.
This is definitely a gift, but it's not over yet by any means. GEEKSTAR's up at the half. It's going to be 2-1 for GEEKSTAR. So they definitely still have a strong position, but it's not over for WGS. They still have a chance, a map to equalize, to take it to the tiebreaker. And so far, they've been finding just a lack of success as the series went on. It was great, on Control, but as the series went on, they just haven't found as much value from their Sombra play.
Now remember, for WGS, they can pull what we like to call the Fusion University, which is that you just clutch the series out on Control. They took Control off of good Sombra play back on Oasis, and if they can just manage a way to take an escort map here, guess what? They could finish out the series on Control. So, I mean, if coming from the perspective of GEEKSTAR, for reasons other than the obvious, you really do want to finish this out right here, right now. Do not risk the map 5.
Don't want to chance it. No. Don't want to chance it at all. Don't want to be in a position, especially since so far seems to be your weakest map, your weakest game type versus them, you would prefer just to end it right here. So it will be nice to see. I think that WGS are kind of hoping, obviously, that they must win this map to equalize, and they need to go to control to finish the series, because that's been, as we talked about, their best game type so far. What we've seen for them.
Well, we'll see what they're able to do here, and that map is going to be Junkertown, so it's going to be wide open. And to me, on face value, given how we know both these teams like to play, given what we've seen just here tonight, I feel like this is a little bit of a gift to WGS.
WGS is a team that I think, since they've been using the Sombra so hard, Junkertown definitely favors them. Having these wide open flanks. Also, it's easier to set up engages for the EMP as well. But it's sort of a double-edged sword, because the larger the map is, especially if GEEKSTAR want to play non-3-3 compositions, the more split you can play, the less value you can get from EMP if you're playing that more split.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question is for GEEKSTAR, is that are we going to see them run anything that's not 3-3 or a Sombra Goats in return? I feel like the answer to that is probably no, at least beyond first point shenanigans where, you never know, teams can always go off the beaten path.
So we're waiting for them to get in here. So we hop on in. And it will be, I guess, a test to see how flexible both teams want to be. If they just want to continue running their standard 3-3, or if they want to stick with the Sombra, or if they want to, flex more. Because Junkertown is the traditional Widow map, the traditional sniper map. Especially on the first, as GEEKSTAR are going to be on this first defense, looking like they're rolling the pretty standard 3-3.
Yeah, and I mean, given that they're running standard 3-3 as well, I wouldn't expect them to hold too far back. This is usually where teams will get right up in the face of their opponents, and not quite at the spawn door, but they can test pretty aggressively. Meanwhile, for WGS, they look well prepared for that, where you'll see a team use a Bastion in the very beginning just to give a little bit of room. Wouldn't expect it to be Spear that'd use it, but for now, interesting from WGS. They also just might come out with a Sombra Goats of their own, which again has been their MO.
That's been their MO so far. As you see, GEEKSTAR holding extremely close to the doors, denying the sight lines. Also going to take this cart fight very, very fast. It's actually going to be backing up, not taking the cart fight, moving back towards the corner.
Interesting. I mean, there's still plenty of time for them to go and contest. It is a little bit surprising they didn't take it earlier, but now they're going to move in. Early hack going on to Assassin, and Flora just having to back out, only 20% gain there. And for GEEKSTAR, the prize here is time. You want to try and burn as much time off the clock without the payload going too far. And I mean, so far, I don't know if they've been super effective at that.
They're backing off again here. I'm surprised they're not taking these fights more aggressively. So they're stacking up here on the corner, just waiting for the next engage, waiting to contest cart.
Well, Flora's only at 40%, so now is really the time to do it for GEEKSTAR. Get at least one team fight win before EMP comes into it. But, the hack comes on the Yam1. GableC can't get back into mech. And suddenly, this is looking really rough, where even though the Sombra Goats on the other side, GEEKSTAR, they're finding themselves bullied.
GEEKSTAR having to back out here entirely. GableC just caught a little bit too deep, trying to chase for those frags when GEEKSTAR dropped down, try to catch WGS. And Flora, 75% to the EMP here.
Now, the interesting thing for GEEKSTAR is that even though there's no EMP, they have to play like there is EMP. But Sven gets caught. It's Who just hitting him with an absolutely deadly right click early on, and that gives GEEKSTAR kind of a way out.
That is an incredibly important pick from Who. As you see the chase continue to come out for GEEKSTAR, they're trying to catch WGS. They're going to be able to get out now. But Who just really being the hero play with some of that damage with the spam, with the right click.
Oh, it gets him up to Transcendence as well, where now, it's like, okay, you're a hero in this fight. Would you like to be a hero again? Could he land a good Transcendence?
Needs to be not caught by the EMP.
Yeah.
EMP is up for Flora, so right now it's going to be the dance of Who dropping the early Transcendence, but now they're just going to trade.
He got spooked by Flora. He thought the EMP was coming in. That's why he transcended there. But guess what? Now the EMP's coming in, and it's a big one. It hits GEEKSTAR on all avenues, and WGS should be able to get easy cleanup off it. But GEEKSTAR, they want to go in. They're going to drop the beat, only hitting 3 people. GableC, and a whole world of fur on the other side, going to drop self-destruct to get back on deck. And actually, Gambit for GEEKSTAR might be working out.
The Gambit for GEEKSTAR is actually definitely alive. You see Vulture, he's still in. He's in there with Chorong, but they're going to have to leave. They're getting chased. There's so much damage coming out onto them. As Darrow moves from main and takes out Yam1, though. And that counter pick is probably what WGS needs to come back in here.
I mean, very much so. It's going to take a while for Yam1 to get back. It's not the absolute quickest of runs. And meanwhile, WGS, they're at full strength. They're going to take this fight right now. GEEKSTAR, They're going to use Rally. They're going to try and sustain up until Yum1 can get back over into the fight. He's almost back on in, so they've almost accomplished what they need to do. And that Transcendence moving in. Not in time to save Leo off the EMP. It's going to be 5v6 here for GEEKSTAR. Pretty wounded, pushed on back. They're hoping to get down Spear. Spear getting really low, but they're not able to finish off Gable. She's going to get teambacked instead, but they get the Transcendence out. It's a decent point.
And the rally.
Yeah.
Get the Transcendence and the rally. A lot of ults here used for WGS to secure the point. The fight, it's still not over yet, but the health is so bad for GEEKSTAR, and that will be that. Yum1 trying to leave with his energy.
I mean, I think overall for GEEKSTAR, you're not hating how that ended up at the end. I mean, if there was a downside is that, yes, they got the ults out of WGS, but at the same point, Flora got to build up a lot of charge towards an EMP in what was a losing fight.
I think that was a really smart counter engage for GEEKSTAR, though. After the Transcendence came out and whose trans was so late, or for so early, I should say, when they commit the beat, they recognize that WGS was, just had so much damage on his spear. They get the ults out earlier. So now we're on second. WGS, they do have another EMP in their repertoire. Come in.
Oh, that's a dangerous spot to go for the EMP there. And Transcendence out in time for GEEKSTAR, so they're going to shrug it off. Graviton setting up Yum1 on the other side. And that is a really good set for GEEKSTAR, but also, I wasn't in love with how Flora set up that EMP.
No, I think they were hoping to use it extremely defensively as WGS dropped from the window, or as a GEEKSTAR dropped from the window, but they just didn't get any value from it. They got almost zero value from it.
It was a rough spot that didn't give WGS the greatest follow-through on it, and also gave Hu a pretty good way of transcending in to save everyone. So WGS going to be losing a decent bit of momentum off that.
So now GEEKSTAR holding the high ground, a very strong position here. Gibblesy, Diva Bomb up. Also W with the beat. So they're in a great spot because Spin, really the only impactful ult currently left for WGS, and they're going to have to use the grab as sort of just to get the beat out.
Well, they're going to use the grab here pretty early, and they use it to isolate down Assassin. So Graviton from WGS doing the work, and GEEKSTAR, they didn't have the chance to drop the beat to keep themselves alive.
They didn't have the chance, but Gablezy, he's still hunting in the background. He's still trying to get these frags. Gonna get D-Mech now, gonna go down. Was not able to finish off Spin. That grab was very good. It was split, and also I don't think Dobie wanted to commit his beat there. They were afraid that since they were already down a man. So GEEKSTAR coming back in, still holding on to the beat, but Flora with another still with the EMP coming up very, very soon. So he can't get caught by this.
1 minute left, but a fight that could be pretty good here for WGS. All going to depend on Flora. GEEKSTAR trying to make it explosive here. Early self-destruct out, not going to catch anything. Just forces WGS back for a brief moment. Flora now, perfect opportunity to move on in with the EMP. Gablesley already low, Leo down. And this could be the worst of all worlds here where Transcendence is committed, but EMP still in reserve. It means WGS, they're going to get to save the EMP.
Not even having to use it. That is a huge investment. And it's just really based off the fact that Spear just did so much damage. It did so much damage in that fight, was swinging for free the entire time. And it's sort of one of the downsides of not having a Diva is that Diva is a very heavy main tank punisher, whether you're Reinhardt or Winston. Just able to fly into them and do a lot of early damage, do a lot of shield presence. And Spear is sort of free in that fight to do whatever he wants.
So now WGS having a decent amount of time working. Oh, on the other side, it's Spear with the Shatter, putting most of GEEKSTAR on the ground. And yeah, GEEKSTAR able to fight their way out. The Graviton by Yum1 really changes the dynamic of the fight.
And for investing the EMP there, by the way. They invest EMP, get nothing out of it, lose the fight. So if you're GEEKSTAR, you have to be happy. You have to be extremely happy with the defense.
Yeah, I think you're GEEKSTAR. You're celebrating over where that's at here, where now you get to hold really far up. You've put WGS back into spawn. Gablesley, though, in a kind of rough spot here where Diva's not going to be in mech to start things out. And, there's a window here. And WGS are going to take it, immediately grabbing. They recognize the opportunity, and they're going to force out the Transcendence. Gablesley, though, able to get back into the mech. So GEEKSTAR turning it the other way. They're investing in rally, force out the beat from WGS. And you see Dayro under pressure here. Doesn't want to have to transcend, but very well might have to as this fight devolves.
Especially with Gablesley getting close to the Diva Bomb. They're putting so much pressure onto Spear. If the shield goes down, the Diva Bomb becomes a lot more deadly.
And there it is. WGS, they decide to transcend to make this fight their own. They use it to rotate over, take down Leo, and it's all clean up from here. But again, for GEEKSTAR, you're pretty happy with this.
They can take another fight before it's even close to the final cap, and then it'll be OT. And if WGS invest EMP, then they won't have it up for the next fight. GEEKSTAR coming up on those report ults. Yum1 coming up on that grab, so they know GEEKSTAR should know they have the combo. WGS, they don't have support ults, so WGS is going to engage early. They need to get value early.
We'll see what Flora does here. EMP should be an easier one to set up right now. Flora just buying his time while the payload continues going forward. I mean, ideally for WGS, GEEKSTAR continues to wait, and they make this a one-fight fight with a good EMP. Flora gonna go in, drops the EMP immediately, and sets up the Shatter Spear. There in the follow-through, and that was a perfect engage that WGS needed.
And you see, that was sort of the cat and mouse game there between Flora and the rest of GEEKSTAR. They're waiting for the longest time. They're trying to bait Flora, dropping down and drop it, using the EMP in a position where they can survive. But the patience there, setting up the EMP. It is capped in OT, though.
One thing that I think is really worth noting is that I think GEEKSTAR made a critical mistake there by not engaging earlier, where they could have made that a two-fight setup. They had to have known that the EMP was on its way, and they just waited. They waited for so incredibly long that when the fight takes place here, there's no recovering from a clean team fight wipe there. They needed to take this fight early.
They did, especially when you have combo up.
Yeah. If
you have combo up and you know there's no divas, Flora's not on diva, right? So if you're Yom1, you have a free grab.
Yeah, and not only that, but also we don't talk about as much as we should, but the entire threat of overtime spawns, right? Where if you get wiped, but it's pre-overtime, you have normal spawns, whereas there they got wiped right as overtime was taking the place. So even though as is they probably weren't going to get back to the point, the threat of overtime spawn just made it that much worse.
So now GEEKSTAR going to be on the offense. Was WGS full capping, but in OT, so they don't have any time left over.
It is escort though, so I mean, if nothing else, they're guaranteed a minute no matter what.
True.
Even though that minute very well could be getting added to GEEKSTAR's total if they're able to get through quickly. So, I mean, for WGS, it's not super ideal, but there's definitely worse positions to be in. You still, and final 1 minute pushes on escort very frequently are way more than 1 minute. It's probably the most overtime rush friendly map type in the game. So, this is still a battle to be won for WGS. GEEKSTAR though, the path forward is clear. Finish out the map, do it with more time.
So WGS holding close. They do have the Sombra set up, the Sombra goats. The Z4 trying to get a little early poke, back up. And WGS, they have to play a slow game. They can't really play too aggressively. They can't contest cart. They have to just poke, poke, and poke. Wait for Flora to get the EMP.
It's been a slower start for Flora here so far, only 11%. This is where for Sombra, he gets forced back again, 18%. GEEKSTAR's been doing a good job of denying the Sombra pressure. And now they're going to move in.
GEEKSTAR.
Yeah, this is why they're rushing in. They know that Flora has nothing in the tank that just translocated out. They're trying to do what a 3-3 should do here and being aggressive before the EP comes into play. And they're still keeping Flora back and getting good payload progress. This is not bad from GEEKSTAR right now.
And also so much pressure on the Spear right now. Still discorded. You see so much damage. The bubble out. They're still trying to rush them. Vulture hurt.
Vulture really, really low down. Leo able to finish it off. So man advantage now to GEEKSTAR, but Leo ends up giving his life to Transcendence from who? Just too late to save the Rhine. And now GEEKSTAR find themselves in a much rougher spot. And that's even before you consider the EMP. But Dero gonna fall. Flora, do you try an EMP here in this 4v4 situation? Yeah, Flora lets it go, but this can really backfire for WGS. It is.
WGS just cleaning up here. And Spear decides to drop the Shatter at that as well, but there's no one that can clean up.
Assassin just keeps laying in the rocket flail here. No one's looking at the Brigida. And GEEKSTAR, that was such a good turn of events.
WGS, they were stuck on sort of the knife's edge where they didn't know what they wanted to commit or not after Dero had been booped. And Flora decides to commit the EMP, but realistically, the fight was over at that point. Spin didn't even have grab. They need to back up, but they decided to just keep committing. So very unfortunate for WGS, as GEEKSTAR are now moving forward. They have ults in their bank. They're coming up on combo. Well, not coming up on combo. They will have combo more likely.
Yeah, combo's going to be in their favor. Flora not going to have EMP for this next fight unless he just absolutely murders the tank. So this is an incredible opportunity now for GEEKSTAR. There's part one. Graviton is in. GableC gets the self-destruct up really late. Can't combo in. Leo's down. And the timing for GEEKSTAR really bad for that combo. It just, they were off by a few ult percentage points, and that's all it takes.
Realistically, they shouldn't have even needed it because there was no DB to eat the damage. There were no defensive ults up for WGS. They just couldn't swing on the grab. They didn't give enough, they just really didn't give the value to Leo. They didn't give the utility to Leo to swing. They should not have needed combo in that fight. And instead, now they've lost. They've invested grab. WGS coming up with support ults and have the EMP.
So GEEKSTAR giving WGS new life here, and that new life is going to be Flora, who EMP up for this fight, wasn't up for last. This is where ult economy can be quite good. EMP out, and Doobie there at the save. Meanwhile, Who going to get Transcends up soon, but the problem is Leo's isolated as EMP is going on, so Who, do you use Transcends to try and save this? Gable C's down, you really shouldn't. And I think GEEKSTAR is just going to take the L.
GEEKSTAR are backing up. See these frags being chased. WGS trying to get these late kills. It's going to be W going down. So now WGS still holding on. A good EMP, despite the good hide as well from Dobie and Assassin popping that early rally. Because obviously the armor does not get taken away by EMP. They just could not sustain. They could not win the fight post-grab. So GEEKSTAR coming back in. They do have their combo.
If you're WGS, you take this fight up as soon as possible, except the fact that you're probably going to lose. But no, they try and take it. They use both beat and rally, but it does nothing aside from drain their ults as they get blown to smithereens. A combo from Yamwan and Gable see more than enough to pierce on through. In WGS, I like the aggressive hold. Just hold back. Maybe only use the rally, save the rest.
I think that was still fine for them. They're coming back in with an EMP, right? They have the shatter. The EMP shatter is a great combo. Even if Who is not necessarily caught by the EMP, you could generally get one frag here. So they got those ults out early by holding so close, and now they have time for another contest.
Well, it does put a lot of pressure on the floor. There's the EMP shatter immediately there, and Leo erased. And you know what? EMP shatter, I guess it was all they needed, and it didn't matter that they used
EMP shatter's a great combo, and GEEKSTAR for some reason as well didn't hedge their bets properly. They were holding so close. Who was right next to them gets caught with the EMP as well, on top of the shatter.
The stagger. Casual.
Bye-bye, Gable.
Casual right click from Sven there.
Bye-bye, Gable C. So it's over. And that's a really rough spot to be held as well because they have to make the long trek back. It's right next to the cap. But WGS were hedging their bets with that early contest to get the ult out of GEEKSTAR to come back in with the EMP shatter, which is exactly what they did. A little bit of a misplay for GEEKSTAR, though. Playing so tight. So here they come back in.
Well, GEEKSTAR, they had a lot of time after point A, and now time very much on their side. Only 1:40 left. Really is only 2 attempts here. And they try and speed over to the point. WGS going to chase them on down. But remember, Flora doesn't have EMP here yet. They are a little bit weaker. Transcend's going to be used from GEEKSTAR. They try and charge back in, but now it's going to be later. Grab here by Sven. The Transcend's no longer up. WGS, they're going to get the fall through they need. Leo targeted down early once more. Spear holding on to the shatter. And mid Graviton, he's going to drop it, trying to buy a little bit more room. It doesn't quite do what he wants to do. The Graviton from GEEKSTAR does a good job of turning the fight. And it really should be enough, but Flora making it closer than expected.
Making it closer, but there's no way he invests the EMP in this fight. It's definitely going to be done. And WGS had a solid engage to begin with, but really the grab from Sven was not what they needed. They solo grabbed Leo away from the cart rather than on the cart where they could have grabbed more. And over time, they just got less value with their ultimates. So you see Yamwan pushing forward aggressively, just trying to get that beat, or trying to get that grab up. 50% right now. WGS, though, does have the EMP.
WGS is EMP in reserve. GEEKSTAR 2 minutes to go through. And for WGS, you are hoping to get the clean EMP fight. Sven stunned and isolated so early. GEEKSTAR using the barrier here in the fight as well to just make it even more decisive. And for WGS, they are completely thrown out.
So it's going to be a fight win for GEEKSTAR moving forward. They do have combo. Yamwan and Gable C have it up.
Flora used EMP there as well. That's
Flora did also
really
use the EMP. That is
part.
unfortunate. The thing for WGS is, especially at the rate the card is moving, they don't have time for 2 fights. It's a 1-fight scenario, so they're going to have to take the grab. They're going to have to take the eat here, or the grab coming out, and double support ult to stay alive from combo.
Oh, Yamwan immediately going to grab, and here comes Gable C with the follow through. Self-destruct right over, and then nice disruption. That's going to be 3 for GEEKSTAR. And right now, we're looking like we're heading to extra rounds.
And was Chorong hiding, or did Chorong decide not to commit the beat in that fight?
Maybe he wasn't close enough. Maybe
But it's going to be a really tough recontest.
Yeah.
He's going to use the beat for the recontest.
It's going to be very hard for them to even get back on touch, but they do get a good beat off. WGS, they lose Flora on the Diva, who just swaps because he's not going to get another EMP. But it's a very tough fight to flip. GEEKSTAR just smothering them as they head out of spawn. Have a little bit of emergency Hammond delay here, but it's not going to amount to much. And guess what? We go to extra rounds. It's going to be GEEKSTAR with a little bit of extra time on their side.
So I guess, you know, it's a tough call if you're Lucio in that scenario, where it's pretty much last fight. You might have the recontest and the combo comes out. And Chorong decides, well, I'm going to use beat for the recontest rather than keep me alive through combo. And we know that if beat used properly, the combo can keep you.
Let's take a look
value.
at where is Joe here. Is he just in the thick of things?
I can't even see him. No, he's not, because he's in spawn, right?
Yeah.
If he was in here, he'd be dead. He went to spawn. We see him recontest. He's alive. He had left. So it's a tough call, right? You have to make the choice. Do I commit beat to keep my team alive in the combo? Because a perfectly timed beat can keep your team alive, especially with bubbles. But otherwise, if you invest beat, then you don't really have a recontest at all. You have essentially no time. But that really, WGS still didn't have a recontest.
No, I mean, it was too close to the very end. I mean, that was final fight territory. The fight needed to be taken earlier. They wanted to make it a 2-fight setup, but now we go in the extra rounds. WGS, technically, they're given 1 minute, but again, on escort, that 1 minute doesn't really end up being 1 minute a lot of the time. That 1 minute can be 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It can oftentimes even be a full capture on the map, so we're just gonna have to see what develops.
GEEKSTAR running 3-3 here again. Holding relatively close. We'll see if they decide to take this fast fight onto the cart or if they just want to play the corners, which is what they did in their last defense. Sees here on the corner, so not the early fast fight, just going to be playing the corners.
You know, if I'm GEEKSTAR here, I actually would have liked to see GEEKSTAR run the Sombra just because you just need one decisive fight after a minute. GEEKSTAR, by running a normal 3-3, they have opened up the possibility that they just get continually rolled by ult economy powered by a Sombra.
Yeah, they have to. I don't think there's necessarily a continual roll possible with Sombra, since if you lose to the EMP, there's not a fight winner, right? Because we have support ults up for the Grav. See the hat come out on Adobe, but Gilsey gets the early pick on Darrow, which is huge. Assassin gets Vulture.
Yeah, GEEKSTAR getting the better of this fight. And then some for WGS. This is the worst possible timeline where they're going to have to struggle just to get out to even get back to payload. So
might have to be Flora that touches.
I think so, and the problem is it's Flora that touches. Flora's probably not getting out alive. Say it works. Flora is the one to go over trigger overtime. Flora does get out alive, so that part at least goes okay for WGS, but now they have to take the fight. They can't dance around the way a Sombra comp would want to. Flora has to get an impactful hack here. So far, he gets a hack on the Gable C. See if that's enough. Tries to pressure in from the back. Builds up so much to an EMP. Might build the EMP up mid-fight. Lets the EMP fly, but it's not in time to save Spear. Spear already down. They can't get the EMP shatter, but the rest of the fight still in contest.
This fight is dependent on if Darrow can get trans.
He does not. And nope, cleanup for GEEKSTAR. So it's not a crazy long escort here, and GEEKSTAR now with a very simple win condition to get their first win here in this contender season.
And if you're WGS, it's risky to run Sombra here on the defense, because this is not a one fight. This is this could be a 3-fight for GEEKSTAR, a 3-fight scenario. There's lots of time for them to take, especially when it's so close to the spawn door. And this is yet another scenario for GEEKSTAR where they can run Sombra, because they just need one fight, They literally just need a single fight to get there. I
would really like to see GEEKSTAR run the Sombra. I mean, the only wisdom against it would just be the fact that...
but I don't think they need to, is the thing. They've been looking so strong on 3-3.
Yeah, I mean, that's wisdom against it, right? Is that even though it would be good because it's one-fight territory, it's not usually their bread and butter. They haven't looked fantastic on it, though they were able to win King's Row with it. And, as we say all that, as we talk about the fact that it's one-fight territory, what do you see from Yamwon here? But considering going to Sombra.
Don't trust the spawn.
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
And something to note is WGS is on traditional 3-3. They're not attempting to put Flora back on the Sombra. They want to just take the fight here, which I think is the right call, because with so many fights up for GEEKSTAR, and you just need to lose one, you have to just stick with 3-3.
But it does mean that WGS is going to be out of their comfort zone here to a degree, and we just run it 3-3 versus 3-3. And speaking of threes, WGS have to win 3 in a row, is what we call it.
So now GEEKSTAR have pretty much pushed the cart to the cap. WGS holding the corner.
Well, now they have to just say, you shall not pass. WGS needing to be perfect here. Spear, though, getting isolated early, eating a lot of damage. He's able to get back to his team, but no, not in time. Spear still going to get taken down.
And with the D-Mech onto Flora, that should be it.
That's going to be GEEKSTAR picking up their first win here in Contenders Korea. WGS, hard to blame them too much, though, with all that roster shuffling. Would have been probably more about GEEKSTAR than not if WGS was able to win here today.
So now GEEKSTAR getting its first win of this contender season. And it's really based around GEEKSTAR's just proficiency on 3-3. They when we talked about this difference between Sombra Goats, Sombra Reliant teams, and 3-3 standard teams, and this is probably the poster child where WGS, they did not look great on Sombra.
No.
They really didn't. And in return, GEEKSTAR just looked very okay. It looked like they knew how to pressure the 3-3 against Sombra. They just knew when the translocate's out, let's move forward because we have the cooldown advantage. We can run over their front line. We have the extra health. We have the extra damage. And so that's sort of when we look at stylistic differences between teams. We're on this patch right now, and it comes down to Sombra versus 3-3. You have to be really good at Sombra to make it work.
Well, the interesting thing, the counterpoint there to a degree is that I think the really good Sombra Goats require crazy synergy between your team. Like what we see from Element Mystic where their disengages and Sombra play is fantastic. But there is kind of the dark side here, which some people say about Sombra Goats, which might be the reasoning for WGS, is that a well-executed 3-3 requires a team that is totally in sync, that is comfortable with each other. And how could that possibly be the case when you've now swapped so many members? So sort of less coordinated Sombra Goats was probably their best bet, is what they were thinking.
You run into a terrible paradox there if you're WGS, because you have a new team, so less cohesion, but also maybe your roster isn't super comfortable running 3-3, but in return, since you're less cohesive, Sombra's worse, so you've been into an endless loop of just losing, potentially, where at that point, when you're a team that, even if you're new and you're not as comfortable playing 3-3, I think it's still safer to play 3-3 because it's a little bit more forgiving, it's more straightforward, you don't have to have that same insane level of coordination to be just absolutely top tier at it, and so we'll have to see how WGS progresses through the last couple weeks.
No doubt about it. Well, guys, that was the prelude. The main show is about to begin. It's going to be Runaway taking on Gen G, and it's going to be happening right after this break.